Here we are, day four of 365. I'm doing this. It's every day I come on, it's like, it's a celebration that I am doing another day. And so today I want to actually talk about coexisting realities within ourselves, within yourself, within myself. I think that it is a powerful conversation to have, and I want to have this one with you. In the meantime, I'm going to see if anybody's going to hop on live with me. So while that happens, I'll give an update of my living situation. Currently, still staying at the friend's place right now and I need to be out of here by a certain time. And then this weekend, I'm going over to another friend's place, staying over the weekend. So I'm really grateful for this town for supporting me through this time. And I am going to be looking at a place on Sunday for just the month of March. So I'm going to go check it out and see how that feels. And then we'll see what else comes up. Taking it day by day. So right now I am safe. I have a roof over my head. I have warmth. I have food. I'm good. I'm good to go. And so everything's all good. And what else? Okay, so let's talk about coexisting realities. So what do I mean by that? So I want us to start kind of like just observing and looking at our life, looking at our thoughts, at our wording of what we use. So I am going to be using this theme a lot this month just because of the month ahead that I shared with you in my stories. The theme for February is being very much mindful of your thoughts and your words, and that is what gets manifested in front of you. And so if depending on how you use the wording and what you believe in, then that will be shown to you. So if you believe that life is hard, or if you believe that you can never be a certain individual or have a certain amount of wealth or have a successful business, then you will hit a lot of roadblocks around that because that is your belief and your thoughts and the words that come out, and that is what it gets represented to you. And these examples get shown to you so that you can rewire that thought. But then again, the choice is yours. You always have a choice in your journey. You always have a choice of whether you want to work through something, rewire your limiting beliefs or not. And that is okay. Sometimes you may not feel ready to rewire a certain belief system in that moment, depending on what's happening. But the situation will be presented itself to you again. And so I wanted to talk about this because I think that it is important to acknowledge our realities that live within us. And so if you look at, I always say you can't have dark without the light, and you can't have light without the dark. They both coexist. Same thing with emotions. Low emotions coexist with high emotions. So let's tap into that. Let's tap into the dark and light first. And so what I'm saying by the dark and the light, so there's certain things that we consider dark, the things that make us uncomfortable, the things that we don't like about ourselves. And then there's the light. And the light is basically when we feel in our highest vibration, when we are, we feel in alignment. And the thing is, it is a dance between the two, and it is recognizing and understanding the dark as much as recognizing and understanding the light. Avoiding one it's like bypassing it. And so the way I kind of see this is that if you look at the parts of you that you don't like, and that you give them love, and you just tell them that it's okay, they are there, and you work through them through healing and just recognizing who they are, then you can tap into the light at a grander scale. And so by doing that, it allows it allows a nice ebb and flow of life. Because if we're just always avoiding the dark, if we're always avoiding the things we don't like about ourselves, then how are we going to be really fulfilled in life? How are we going to really feel like ourselves if we keep avoiding the parts of ourselves we don't like? And so an example that I like to use is, for the longest time with my hearing loss, I was ashamed of it. I didn't want anybody else to know that I had a hearing loss. I would hide it. I would always wear my hair down when I wore hearing aids, like when I had to. I pretended that I didn't have a hearing loss many times. Like, I wouldn't tell people for a long time that that was something that was part of me. And I avoided it. But the thing is that it rippled into all aspects of me, because I wasn't being true to myself and I wasn't being true to who I am. And so once I've opened that door and looked at the wound and looked at where it came from, what was behind that, and why did I hide it so much from the world, I learned to embrace it, send love to it, compassion, and accept it as who I am. And so this can be in any form of like a disability you're ashamed of, but it could also be parts of you don't like. You know, the times where you say the wrong thing and you're like, shit, I should have not said that. Like, that was like, I'm such an asshole, like, for saying that. But be kind to yourself. We are human, and sometimes we say the wrong thing. Sometimes we say something that may not be right or politically correct. And as long as we recognize it and we showcase like love and compassion, be like, okay, I said that was not right. I'm going to apologize to whoever I need to apologize, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Or I did this action that, you know, like, I truly fucked up and I made a mistake. It's okay. Mistakes are allowed. Or I stayed in something longer than I should. I stayed in a relationship longer than I should, even though they were taking advantage of me. I stayed in a housing situation, even though there was mold for the longest time, because I was afraid. It's okay. It's okay. It happened. Be kind and be compassionate. The moment you realize it, the dark within you, the parts of you don't like, the situations that you've done, the decisions that you've made, that moment you realize that, you're like, okay, that was not right, that did not feel right for me, and that is that moment where you shift. And that is the moment where you're like at a pivotal point in your life, and then you get to decide which path you want to take. So you can continue taking the path that you've already been on with continuously making those decisions, or you can turn around and create a new path and make new decisions. And at the end of the day, the choice is all yours. And so talking about like the dark and the light, that is what I mean by embracing the dark and embracing the parts of us that we don't like. And the same thing is with the low emotions, with the high emotions. So many times, like, you can't feel sad, you can't feel sad, you can't feel angry, you can't feel frustrated, you can't feel disappointed, you can't feel bitter. You shouldn't be feeling those things. You should always be happy. We're human beings. We have an array of emotions. So if you are down, if you are sad, sit with those feelings and acknowledge them. See what they are saying. Rather than, I've seen it many times, and I've done this too in the past, that it's like, oh, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling angry. Okay, I'm going to do this meditation, I'm going to do this workout so I can feel better. And you're just completely bypassing your emotion. You're not acknowledging at all. And so with emotions, it's a little different, because it's good to sit in the low emotions. It's good to recognize those things. But there is a tipping point too, is who is the driver in the emotions. So, you know, it's kind of like not letting your low emotions completely take control of your life, where you're always in the low emotions. Like, you want to be able to collapse time and say, okay, I recognize these emotions. I see them. I feel them. I sit with them. Journal around them. Reflect on them. Or even just like sit, watch TV, and eat a pint of ice cream. I don't care. Do whatever feels right for you. And then after a certain period of time, then you can slowly just meditate, take a bath, go for a run to slowly shift your perspective. But it is important to sit with them in the beginning, to really acknowledge them and give space for them. Because if we just continue bypassing all our low emotions, then are we really going to ever feel our high emotions? And are our high emotions going to truly feel amazing? Or are we just going to be like, oh, yay, I did this, and yay, cool. Whereas, if we actually acknowledged, when they say people hit rock bottom and then they find a different appreciation of life, or when people are at their deathbed, they have cancer, and they are they face death in some way, and then they find this newfound way to appreciate it. That's kind of a similar thing, is that you're embracing the low emotions, you're embracing the dark, and then you really get to experience the high emotions and the light. So it is a dance. It is the yin and the yang. And I just find it so interesting of all these examples of how we constantly see it in life. And even in my latest post where I talk about the death card in tarot, it's the same thing, that the low emotions in the dark are never going to go away. It's never going to disappear. Those thoughts that you have that are negative are not going to disappear. Those fears that you have are not going to disappear. It is all there, and your fears will be there, but you decide who's the driver. And so death doesn't go away. We are faced with death on the daily, between loved ones passing away or our own death that is coming. And so it is always there. And same thing goes for the dark, the low emotions, the limiting beliefs, the fear, all of that. So you decide who's the driver of your life. Is it going to be the dark, or is it going to be the light? Is it going to be the low emotion or the high emotion? And once you decide who's the driver, are you willing to hold the other side? Because that's the most important, is holding the low, holding the dark, and giving space to it, and recognizing it, and sitting with it, and seeing it. Seeing yourself, seeing who you are, and recognizing who you are is one of the most important, strongest things. Because we're always seeking for someone else to see us. But how is someone else going to see us if we never can see ourselves? So that is day 4. Thanks for watching, and thanks for those who joined me live. I did see you guys hop on. So I saw Darcy and Louisa. And thank you so much for hopping on live and watching this. And I will speak to you soon. Bye.